Jung seob picture on the tinfoil paper. If you go to Hongik University Museum in Seoul, you can see a masterpiece that will be remembered forever in art history. It is White Ox by Jung seob. Many visitors pause in front of the picture and appreciate it with awe. Look at that bones and muscles. Doesn't it look alive? Yes, it looks like it is ready to jump out of the frame and breathe heavily. White Ox is not the only painting of oxen Lee painted. There are many others like an ox, yellow ox, head-butting ox, etc. He was very attached to painting oxen. I feel the power, will, and hope when I see an ox. I also can glance at the sadness, despair, and anger. In this manner, Lee drew oxen with thick and stout strokes. The turbulent life he lived is depicted as it is in his paintings. What life did painter Jung seob lead? Lee was born during the Japanese invasion. Since his father died early, Lee grew up in Pyongyang, the home of his mother. He was happiest when he was out in the field drawing flowers, trees, and plowing cows. I want to become an artist in the future. There are so many things I want to draw. His dream became firm when he entered Osan High School and met his art teacher, Lim Yong-ryeon. The teacher recommended Lee studying abroad in Japan. At first, Lee was hesitant about studying in Japan because he hated Japan for their violence toward Joseon. Then teacher Lim tried to convince him. Jung seob, we hate Japan, but you have to do this if you want to continue studying art, especially if you want to study Western art. Yes, sir, I will study hard wherever I go and become a great artist. So Lee left for Japan at the age of 20 and studied in art at Tokyo Bunkagakuen. Lee's extraordinary talent shone through during his study in Japan. He entered a number of authoritative art competitions and won many awards. It was rare that a student from an occupied country to achieve that much. His Japanese tutors did not stint on compliments. You are doing amazing, especially when you consider that you must have not received proper art education in Joseon. Lee was unconcerned with that comment and concentrated on painting more. Time has passed, and Lee had been studying abroad for 7 years. By that time, the love of his life appeared in front of him. It was a Japanese woman named Masako. As it is said, love overcomes the border. Masako became Lee's greatest encouragement in his life. After meeting you, my soul finally gained respite. For me, too, nationality does not mean anything between us. Lee gave Masako a Korean name, Lee Namdeok. Their love grew stronger every day. Then in 1945, the Japanese imperialism finally collapsed. Joseon gained independence back, and the two returned to Joseon to wed. Lee worked as a teacher in Wonsan School of Education and drew whenever he was back from work. The chickens they grew in their newlywed house often were his subject of art. Soon later, a son was born between two. You little pumpkin, I am your dad, ha ha. The joy that Lee had never felt before in his life filled up his heart during this time. But the happiness did not last long. His first son started to get sick. Lee and his wife brought their child to a hospital. Diphtheria is an acute infectious disease. He is already showing severe symptoms. It will be hard to recover from it. The couple felt like the world was collapsing on them. Few days later, the child eventually died. "What should we do, dear? Our baby's such a poor thing." She could not stop crying. Lee's grief was not less than his wife's. He confined himself in his room for many days and nights. Then one day, Lee started to prepare for painting all of a sudden. The friend who visited him for a commiseration asked him, "Hey, can you draw anything in this condition?" Lee smiled and said innocently, "I am going to draw for my baby in heaven. I will draw kids playing together so he does not feel lonely." The friend's throat choked up and his eyes got tearful. Several years later, peace revisited Lee's household yet again. The second son helped them forget the pain of the past. Then this time, a great disaster. Korean War happened. Boom, boom, boom. The war did not look like it would end any time soon. Lee said to his wife, who was embracing her children in anxiety, "Dear, let's go to Busan. It will be safer down there." But life in unfamiliar Busan was not easy at all. Lee stayed in a refugee camp with his family and worked manual labor at the dock for a living. It was painful to see his children suffering from hunger and cold. After much pondering, they took a boat that was heading for Jeju Island. However, his life in Jeju became even harder, and he had no other choice but to make the final decision. "Dear, take the kids to your home and stay in Japan for a while." She did not want to separate from him, but there was no other way. After departing from his family, Lee started to work for anything that he could, longing for the day he finally met his family again. Moving between Jeju and Busan, he would not avoid day labors either. In the nights, he would draw pictures, relieving his longing for his family. "Ah, it's unbearable how much I miss my wife and my children, but they will not go hungry in Japan at least." It was hard earning everyday meals, so Lee grew gaunter and gaunter. Buying paper for drawing was a luxury he could not afford. Then Lee eyed a discarded cigarette box lined with silver paper. "That's it. I can use it instead of sketching paper." He spread the paper flat and drew a picture with an awl. Thanks to his excellent mastery, the material brought out a new feel to it. The subject for his foil paper drawings was usually his family he missed. "Let's hang in there more. I can meet them sooner or later." But Lee's wish did not seem to come true that easily. He just had to relieve his yearning drawing on the foil paper.